Good morning, guys. Today I want Group 3 to present about your research of Libya country. Okay, Mr. My name is Hazra and now I would like to present about country profile and background. Libya is a country in the Maghreb region in North Africa, bordered by the Mediterranean Sea to the north, in the east by Egypt, in the southeast by Sudan, in the south by Chad and Niger, and in the west by Algeria and Tunisia. Most of the country is situated in the Sahara Desert, and most of its population is clustered along its surrounding hinterland, where Tripoli, the largest capital, are situated. Since Libya is almost completely covered by the Libyan desert, it is so dry that no permanent rivers stream along its borders and the desert is roamed by wild species such as hyenas all across the nation. For the background, Libya was first inhabited by the Berbers during the late Bronze Age in the 12th century. Later, the Greeks settled in the eastern part of the world and gave the region their name, which is Libya. Then the Romans invaded Libya and controlled the territory. The Arabs then took over and brought Islam to the city about the year 7th century. Libya officially achieved independence on December 24, 1951 under Said Muhammad Idris. The nation was ruled by monarchs until Colonel Muammar al-Gaddafi seized power of King Idris in 1969. Now I will pass to Aini.
Thank you, Hazran. Now I will present legal and political. The Libyan legal is based on the interim constitution declarations announced by the NCT on August 2011, where the declaration replaced with a cerebral document of a constitution nature that already effective during Gaddafi rule, where embodied his idea. Secondly is according to civil code. The hierarchy of a legal source is in ascending order, where the constitution's legal relations, principles of natural law and equity. Thirdly, judicial branch is composed of 4 levels of counts and culminating in a Supreme Court. Nevertheless, currently the role of judiciary is ambiguous owing to the lack of constitutions, where the system suffers heavily from political interference in the different regions in Libya.
Then, how the political in Libya?
For political, Libya is an uncertain country due to the collapse of the Libya of Arab Qamariah in 2011, and there are civil war where it is the civil war by it's kept ongoing between the House of Representatives in Tobruk and its supporter, the new General National Congress in Tripoli and its supporter, and have various jihadist and tribal elements controlling parts of the country. Moving on to culture of Libya. The younger people in the country like to have an enjoyable social life who love to drive fast cars through Benghazi with a tinted windows, while their country doesn't have a nightclubs or bar shops operate in the country, but they have a shisha cafe and shawarma joints where many people will gather on their free time. In Libya, country cannot have alcohol and cannot sell it. Next is marriage. In Libya, marriage tends to arrange and wedding can last up to 3 days, where there will be a lot of singing and elaborate costume. Next is traditional clothing. Traditional dress of Libya for women includes a brightly colored silk and striped straw that are used for wrap. The material that they use for the traditional dress of the Libyan women are purchased at open marketplace in their village, but they must continue to cover their hair with hijab. Libya also has a traditional wedding costume where the bride need to wear costume called the pink, the other name called al-bawdari. The bride need to dress up a traditional pink striped voluminous dresses fold up into a cushion-like form at the back and hip and had a matching tied up on the top of her head, plus wearing huge gold in her hand. For your information, Al-Bawdari Day is the big day that the bride dress up in pink, as well as the bride in the day prepare herself to get the basket of clothes, jewelry including gold and silver, makeup and some foods. For men, costume they popularly wear for Friday prayer, Eid, Islamic holiday and wedding. Libyan men clothes tend to similar across entire Libya, but contain of long white shirt called jalabia or kamis. Furthermore, Libyan dishes borrow from the Arabian, Mediterranean and Italian culture that meet in the area. Olive, palm oil, dates, unflavored bread and stuffed sweet papers appear frequently in meals. They do not consume pork and all meat need to be halal. They're very detailed in cooking, where many spices are used in all dishes.
I was reminded of Hazran's presentation group. They were very good at explaining it. I know you know more about Libya. Can you explain it to me about their demographic?
Sure. So now I will explain about the demographic. For literacy rate, the Libyans settle in Libya on the North African Mediterranean coast westward and surrounding Egypt. Libyans live in the nation of Libya. Tripoli is home to most Libyans. It is the country's capital and first in terms of urban density, and the second largest city in Libya in Benghazi. The literacy rate for males and female at the beginning of the 1980s. Overall literacy figures varied between 50% and 60%, or around 70% for men and 35% for women. For 2001, the Human Growth Survey of the United Nations Development Program reports that adults' literacy rate was up to approximate 80.8 or 91.3%.
Wow. Good info, Azudan. How about education in Libya?
Education in Libya is compulsory for the first 9 years of education as their primary education. Education in Libya is compulsory for the first 9 years of education as their primary education. For the middle school, it takes the final 3 years, and as the result, the basic education certificate will be an award for those who complete 9 years of primary education. If they score 50% or higher in each subject, students advance to the corresponding status. Next is the religion of Libya. Most religion Libyans are Muslim, and Sunnis are the overwhelming majority. In Libya, the largest and most historical Christian denomination in Libya is Coptic Orthodox Christianity. The presence of Sunniya, a radical Islamic brotherhood of the 19th century, remains high in Curenca. Until recently, Libya was the birthplace to one of the world's most extensive Jewish culture. A small Anglican community is part of Egypt's Anglican diocese, mainly African immigrant workers in Tripoli.
That was good. I understand those three demographic, which are literacy rate, education and religion. Do you know about Libya's population?
The latest population of Libya in 2020 is 6,871,292 people. It has an increase of about 1.38% from 2019, which is 6,777,452. According to United Nations data, the immigrants took over 12% of the total population in Libya. Thanks, Izia. I'm glad you are interested to hear from me.
Do you remember Hazran's point, which is about main industry, when he presented to class? I bet you forgot. What is the point?
Could not focus in class. Okay, I will help you by repeat my points for main industry of Libya. The primary industry in Libya is the petroleum sector, as Libya is the largest producer of oil in Africa, and Libya's economy relies largely on sales from this sector, which accounts for almost all of the country's export earnings. Although oil exploration has been going on for half a century, the scope for Libya's oil and gas is immense, and the country remains largely underexplored. Yo, I hope you understood. I gotta go from now. I have others' job waiting for me. See ya.
Wow, thoughts so intense. And I got all the information I need.
Good for you, Izia, and now let's move out. I also would like to know about the other industries and resources of Libya. Do you know any of them?
Yeah, of course I know. Next, I will present about other industry of Libya. Even though Libya has been the richest country, because they have petroleum as their main industry, but they are also active in other industries such as agriculture, forestry and fishing. They are able to cultivate plants like ground peanuts, olive, grapes, almond, citrus fruit, tobacco and others. You know that in Libya only have 1% forest and the others is desert, so it can be proud after many trial and error to plant various plants and fail, they now can figure out to cultivate a plant that's suitable with the hot and dry condition. Secondly, the great project about 20 centuries ago has been successfully built as Great Man-Mad River as a water canal that connects from groundwater to entire Libya. Thirdly, they also have animals uses for husbandry. It is for meat, milk and transportation. Next, the 1% forest remain in Libya would not stop the government to urge forestry as now they are able to plant 27 million of it. Other than that, is fishing. Fishing can be done in Tripolitania and by ethnic group. The fish has been sell is quite expensive as only certain area limited for fishing, but the best is they can get fish from their own country without need to import.
Wow, you nailed it. So, what the resources of Libya? I am sure it give miracle to that country to become one of the richest country in the world.
Of course, you need to know every details as you will not left out. The main resources is petroleum. Other resources that made the country can operate many industries such as industrials, minerals, fossils, fuels and metals. It also have crude oil as the country gets 7th ranked of the size of it, which is 1.7 mbbl/d. The crude oil get high demand as it is less pollution and less corrosion because the emission standard they set. Next, they also have sulfur, lime, nitrogen, cement, direct reduced iron. Ammonia also is the resource and it's been exported to other countries for revenue. Animals also resources for Libya. Plants such as grapes, olive, ground peanut, citrus fruit and other are the amazing things happen in this country as the climate is hot and dry. Surprisingly they can live long in desert. Animal for husbandry for meat, milk and transportation like goats, camel, donkey, horses, and sheeps.
That was awesome. It was super detailed and also I am 100% understood whatever you explained. Better not forget it, we have class tomorrow.
You too, Azudan. Talking to yourself, huh? Ha 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 ha. See you soon.